Hi everybody, Lord Maim here again with part 15 of the Mass Effect 3 Insanity walkthrough, Lesuss Ardat-Yakshi Monastery. Now an interesting point about this mission is that in your journal it's actually labeled as Kallini Ardat-Yakshi Monastery, when in fact it isn't in the Kallini system. The mission actually takes place in the Mesana system on the planet Lesuss. So I will label it in the description of the video as both Kallini and Lesuss Ardat-Yakshi Monastery, so that when it is corrected in the patch, I can change it easily rather than going back and changing this video. In either case, it will show up on your galaxy map in the correct location, regardless of how it's labeled in your journal. About the first third of this mission is basically a Dead Space style trek through an empty area to build dread. In reality, you don't get into any kind of encounters until well after this dark area. So take your time and explore all the little nooks and crannies in the area. There are several mods and computers that you can get information from in the area. So take your time, go through every side room, and pick up everything before you proceed. Intel is always welcome. There's one of two permanent upgrades that you're going to get from that. And especially on Insanity, those permanent upgrades that you can get, even if they're just 5%, they add up. So take the time to go through and do the search and rescue mini games in the galaxy map. It's tedious, but it can make the difference in Insanity mode. When you're ready to proceed, examine the commando corpse at the edge of the area where it starts to become lit again, and then proceed into the next section to trigger another cinematic.
This monastery is out of the way. What do the Reapers want with Ardat-Yakshi? Anything useful?
A floor plan marked with the nav point location of a bomb. It's in some place called the Great Hall.
At least it's no surprise Nuke gone to Chunka, but the commandos want this place gone pretty badly.
Ardat-Yakshi or not, evacuating this place would have saved a lot of lives. If there's no survivors, let's get to the Great Hall and set off that bomb.
Bypass the door to trigger a cinematic. If you've had Samara or Morinth survive Mass Effect 2, she'll appear here in the Ardat-Yakshi Monastery, giving you some excellent backstory. After the cinematic is done, proceed to the edge of the area and through the door to continue. If you're interested in the side missions that you can get at the Citadel, there is also a PDA that you can pick up that will fulfill one of those missions.
It's too quiet. Are there any survivors?
Once you've reached this outdoor area, you're finally about to see some Reapers on this stage, including a brand new Reaper that we have not yet seen in the game, the Banshee. And this will be quite easily the most irritating enemy you're going to face over this entire game. I haven't heard anyone who said, "Oh yeah, Banshee, neat idea. I love that enemy." More often than not, I hear, "God damn it, those things are awful. I can't believe how terrible they are. Why? Why, God, why?" As soon as you hear the screams, that's when you know you're in for it. The Banshees have two main issues. First of all, they teleport. Short distances, about 15 feet or so, but it's enough to throw off your aim. You have to reacquire them and attack them again. Second of all, they have a very powerful barrier and even more powerful armor. Hit the Banshee with things like warp ammo, use the warp ability, concussive shots from yourself and from Garrus both can wear down the Banshee's barrier. Then once it's down to armor, using Garrus's proximity mines or Liara's warp ability again to weaken the armor. What's always good to know, though, is when you're going into a mission, is to always check to make sure you've activated your ammo abilities if you're playing as a soldier. You'll notice that it has finally occurred to me that I haven't had it activated, and that I hadn't been doing nearly as much damage as I should have been until now. But now that it's occurred to me, things are going much more smoothly. The thing that you want to avoid at all costs, and particularly when the Banshee is jumping around, is letting her get anywhere near you. If she can teleport in close to you and you don't get away, she can pick you up, and on Insanity it's a one-hit kill. Effectively, if she grapples you, you're dead. So you always want to keep your distance, always want to be aware if there's more than one in the area where the second one is if you're shooting at one, so that the second one doesn't come up behind you and grab you. Particularly on the last encounter of this mission, and at the end of the game, once you return to Earth, there are several missions that have multiple Banshees in them at a time that can get very hairy. Second wave is just a group of cannibals that trickle out of a couple of underground areas. They come in usually groups of 2 or 3, but there's a total of 7 of them. Since the Ardat-Yakshi Monastery has several areas with large open rooms, the sniper rifle is almost always a good idea. Just saves a lot of time and effort.
That used to be a person. An Asari.
Once you've killed all the enemies in the area, once again, scour the room looking for ammunition. There's a nice big cache of it near the door that you're about to leave through, so that's a good place to start. If you happen to be low after that, scan both sides of the area. There are usually a couple of static drops that you can pick up again before proceeding. Trigger the bypass at the end of the area to start another cinematic
She and her sister Rila
and some more
are
backstory.
Ardat-Yakshi. They have Rila.
Once the cinematic is done, open the door to the next area, and you'll have another encounter right away. In this encounter, the thing you want to be aware of immediately is on the right-hand side, in this side room, there is a barrier device on the wall above your head. So you see the cannibals now have barriers, making them a lot more difficult to kill. Just kill the engine before trying to attack anything, just to minimize the number of enemies that have an additional layer of armor. Once the barrier is dead, you can pretty much stay in this room and just cheat the corner, killing anything else that happens to be there. Particularly if you leave your squad near the door you entered through, allowing them to distract the enemies while you circle around beside them to finish them off. Just be sure that none of the enemies are going to flank you by going back through the door that you came in originally. take care of all of these cannibals using the singularity to lock them down and just your ordinary fire to finish them off. Then again, scour the area for ammunition before going down the stairs, because there'll be another encounter immediately once you go down the stairs. There are several side rooms in this upper level that have a couple of mods and some ammunition in them, so be sure to look around through them all before proceeding to the next area. There are two stairwells. Either one, doesn't really matter which one you choose. Generally speaking, though, you want to be on the one on the left so that you can cheat the corner by peeking around the right-hand side of it. But you'll be able to cross to that side even if you come down the other stairwell before the enemies appear. Now, in order to trigger this next encounter, you'll have to move down these stairs to the lower level. You may want to set up your troops, your squad mates, in cover before you trigger the next encounter. Because again, this will include a Banshee in addition to a large number of cannibals. And of course, the Banshee should always be your primary target unless cannibals, for whatever reason, are advancing on your position. I cannot see the cannibals getting anywhere near you before the Banshee is knocking on your door, so not really a huge concern, but concentrate your fire on the Banshee. Use all of your squad abilities to weaken its barrier and minimize its attacks on you. Again, I generally don't use warp ammo. The only time I tend to use it is when there's a barrier. It is not nearly as effective against armor in Mass Effect 3 as it used to be in Mass Effect 2. So, swap back to Incendiary if you don't like the results you're getting with warp ammo, which is effectively any time there is no barrier. Again, you can take the chance and run out to manually revive someone without using Metagel, but because the Banshee is out and about, I would not want to stand there waiting for it with my back turned while trying to revive your squad mates. Just spend the Metagel and use Unity to take care of them. Plus, you'll heal yourself in the process if you happen to have any of your health segments missing. Once the Banshee is dead, move up to the corner and cheat the corner and just kill any and all of the cannibals that are remaining. Luckily, this level is a relatively short level, so it's pretty easy to get used to Banshees without being overwhelmed by wave after wave after wave of them all at once. But it is kind of your trial by fire. If you don't like them now, it's just going to get worse once you get to Earth, so try to get used to the strategy now while there's only one or two of them at a time. And I mentioned this before, in case you happen to be taking fire from a direction you don't expect, just hit the L2 or R2 buttons to bring up your radar, and that'll pause time, allowing you to locate them before continuing. So once you've taken care of all the enemies in that area, move into the next area, and move up to the bomb to trigger the next cinematic, which will lead naturally into the last encounter of the mission. This encounter has 2 Banshees at once, which is never fun. But luckily there is only 4 husks that come with them, and they are pretty easy to deal with a singularity. Your prime concern is still going to be the 1 or 2 Banshees that will be coming after you and your squad almost immediately. So even though the husks running at full speed did not make it to the stage area here before the Banshees were able to teleport, so in all cases, Banshees will be the thing that screws you up most and should be given priority. I shouldn't have to tell you at this point that what you want to do is to concentrate all your fire on a single Banshee. Make sure that all your squad are attacking the same one. It can sometimes be difficult to keep track of them if they're bouncing around and whatnot. But unless there's a pressing reason to do so, finish one off before starting to worry about the other one. God, do I hate those things. So you see, like I was talking about before, you gotta keep track of the second Banshee when you're dealing with more than one at a time, because they can very easily flank around behind you and kill you before you even realize it if you're not paying attention. Frag grenades don't do much against a barrier, so if you're planning on using your special ability and throwing frag grenade, better off to wait until the barrier drops first. You'll do a lot more damage. Banshees on Insanity are nasty-ass juggernauts. Honestly, I'm less afraid of a whole herd of rampaging brutes than I am a couple of Banshees, even mixed in with a few additional units. It just becomes chaos. Towards the end of the game, it's much worse than this, but they take a damn huge amount of punishment. I also did switch over to my sniper rifle because sniper rifles do more damage against armor. I should also be supplementing that with Adrenaline Rush as well as aiming for headshots. So note that I do that here. Better to start with the Adrenaline Rush sooner and use it as many times as possible, because not only does it slow time down, give you a better shot, but also it increases the damage you do and reduces the damage you take. And once you've killed all of the enemies, go over to the bomb and hit the switch to trigger the end of mission cinematic. And that'll be the end of part 15 of the Mass Effect 3 Insanity walkthrough, Lesuss Ardat-Yakshi Monastery. Join us next time for part 16, Array Ex Cerberus Scientists. Till then, I'm Lord Maim. Thanks for watching.